If you like to make your NFL games a little bit more interesting, you've come to the right place. It's the Even Money Podcast with Ross Tucker and Steve Fezzik.
Yeah, Vegas, baby, Vegas. It is the Even Money Betting Podcast, considered by many to be the number one NFL betting podcast that's out there, which is extremely humbling. I'm Ross Tucker, the former NFL offensive lineman. Now I call games for CBS on TV, for Westwood One on the radio. Double dipping this weekend, by the way, in the booth with Iron Eagle for the Eagles and Niners. And then on the sideline with Kevin Harlan and Kurt Warner in the booth on Monday night. I'm driving all the way across the state, Steve, from Philly to Pittsburgh, from Sunday to Monday to get both games in. Should be a lot of fun. This is the show that's so nice, we do it twice. We do it Tuesday mornings, record at 8:25 a.m. Eastern, 5:25 a.m. Pacific time. I tell you that because you should be subscribed, however you consume the show, your podcast app or youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL, and you should absolutely turn notifications on because the lines can and do change, and I think sometimes they can and do change after this show gets posted, shortly after. So your best bet is to get ahead of things. Steve, we did not have a good week to finish week 18, primarily because of our teasers. For the week, I was down 10.8 units. You were down 20.9 units. For the year, that now puts me up still 52.2 units, finishing the regular season. You're still up on the year, 9.5 units. And the big lesson I've learned this year, Steve, is that when we go 2 units on the teasers, being graded at minus 125 this year for the first time, we got to hit them. We got to hit them. You know, because I had 5 legs, 3 of them won, but the Niners with that interception in the fourth quarter, and the Bengals blew it for both of us. The Niners blew it for both of us. You had also laid the point with the Eagles, I think before we knew they were resting their players. So I won 3 legs, you won 2 legs, and Steve, it just kills you. 2 units at minus 125. Kills you.
Yeah, and you know what? It's fine most weeks. I regret adding the Eagles with all the uncertainty early in the week. That was a mistake. I played poorly because of the uncertainty of that game. And I talk all the time in betting groups, and we talk all the time about don't play teasers early in the week when there's uncertainty about the line because it could go up, it could go down. And because of that, I wound up on a bad bunch of teasers with the Eagles. Me bad. I played poorly, deserved the losses.
You know, interestingly, I don't really regret the Niners one. I mean, they're playing at home. They're playing the Seahawks. Now they got their you know what's beat. But they still, if they even just get a field goal when they're down there inside the 10, they cover. And the Bengals, they're just one of those teams that you just can't count on them either way. Like, how do they not beat the Browns at home, Steve? Your Bengals.
Because my Bengals defense played great, and they give up 2 defensive touchdowns. Now the Bengals teaser, I would double down. If I could go back in time, I'd play more Bengals teasers. And we teased they just had to win the game, and they closed -9. So that was a great teaser, and the ball is shaped, not round, but it bounces funny.
I will say this. It's oblong. I will say this. I might be a little more hesitant week 18 next year. There's just a lot of unknown. We'll go through this quickly, and then we'll get to our playoff bets. By the way, you guys need to know this. You can follow Steve on Twitter at Fezzik Sports. I'm at Ross Tucker NFL. We are at Ross Tucker Pod. Steve killed it on his contest this year. Crushed it. Talking tens of thousands of dollars. We'll talk about that before we dive into the playoff games. Panthers, Bucks, I teased the Panthers up to 8.5. That came through for me as a teaser leg. They lost 16-14. Seahawks, Niners, we talked about. Steve, if you could do it over again, would you do that over again? Or is no Trent Williams and the way the Seahawks beat him up, is that enough that you regret that one?
I regret it because of the Trent Williams, and it closed Seattle -3. All of the money on Seattle at post. Another example, we did the show on Tuesday. It gives us advantages and disadvantages. When it comes to teasers, it's a disadvantage because the whole point of the teaser is you want the number that you're playing against to be an accurate number, and you want the extra 6 points to be your edge. So I regret that one also.
Titans, Jags, I put 1 unit on the Titans getting 12.5. They scored a touchdown. It was 7-7, and then Cam Ward got hurt, and that was it. 41-7. I lost. Browns, Bengals, we've all already well documented. Colts, Texans. You know what I like to do, Steve? You know, there's different levels. If I feel really good about a bet, it's 2 units. If I feel pretty good about it, it's 1 unit. And then there's leans, right? So Colts, Texans, I felt pretty good about it when it went up to 10.5 on the Thursday show. So I put the unit on it. Colts came through. They lost 38-30. So thank you, Colts. That was 1 unit. Giants, Cowboys. Put 1 unit on the Giants getting 4.5. They won outright 34-17. Great example, by the way. Both the Texans and Cowboys bench starters at halftime. Very different reasons, but that's the Week 18 uncertainty we're talking about, although I won both those games, so maybe it came through. Packers, Vikings, we had nothing. Saints, Falcons, you had 2 units. Is that right? 2 units on the over for Saints, Falcons, 43.5. Steve, that did not hit as the game ended 19-17. Did you know? We probably did not know Chris Olave was out when you did that, did we?
We did not. One thing I did want to address,
There's no way you would have taken the over with no Olave.
No way. I mean, he's so important. One thing I did want to address is I spoke last week about the 8 of clubs betting method fading the line move. So in general, in any sport, if a total starts at 43, closes 47, college football or NFL, gun to my head, who do I like? I like under. And we have been massively successful with this on games lined around pick'em. We talk about, hey, whoever becomes the 1.5 point favorite, we fade them and we tease the other guys up to plus 7.5, and we've done great with that. If there's 1 week that maybe that's a poor strategy, I think it might well be Week 18 because, Ross, we saw a whole bunch of steam on games like the Giants, down from plus 5.5 down to plus 3. They win outright. And a lot of these big favorites, New England goes up from minus 11.5 to minus 13.5, and they kill their opponents. So the line moves were pretty deadly, this week with all the starters out and the information. And I wonder, Week 18, if the market really does reflect properly that in Week 18.
Dolphins, Patriots. You took the Patriots minus 6.5 in the first half.
Never in doubt.
For 2 units. What was the score?
17-10. The Patriots were up 7. They got a field goal blocked with a minute to play in the first half. Run back 50 yards. Their opponent kicks the field goal with 30 seconds left, so I'm dead. And somehow New England gets a field goal at the buzzer to win by 7.
Oh my gosh. I wasn't able to watch that game. That is funny. All right. Commanders, Eagles, you teased the Eagles. That line obviously moved quite a bit after the Eagles were sitting there, guys. Chargers, Broncos, we had nothing. Lions, Bears. You teased the Lions up to 8.5. That was one of your wins, Steve. Congratulations. I was skeptical of the Lions. I should have gone in on that with you. Chiefs, Raiders, nothing. Cardinals, Rams. We both had the Rams. Oh, no, you did not take the Rams. I had the Rams down to minus 1.5. They did, in fact, play their starters. It was still a close game. They had to pull away. And then Steelers, Ravens. We both had a best bet on the Steelers getting the 3.5 because those games are always close, and it was. We also had 2 units on the under as a best bet, which was looking amazing. And then the fourth quarter happens, And it's touchdown, 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 touchdown. That was the craziest fourth quarter ever. They're just not covering guys.
I'm
They're
not
just blatantly
an X's and
not
O's
covering
guy,
guys.
but Ross, as a former football player, you have to explain to me why in the fourth quarter the Steelers had no safeties on the field, apparently. I've never seen two more wide open dudes with the game on the line. Deep.
And Zay Flowers, their best receiver, not just like dudes, the dude.
Yes.
Unbelievable. All right. So it was not a good week. We were both down double digits, and we were 1-4 on our best bets. However, for the year, we're still 106-63. We finished the regular season 63% strike rate on our best bets, which is phenomenal. And again, I'm up 52.2 units. You're up 9.5 units. So we're up a combined over 60 units on this show. We move onward and upward to the NFL playoffs. More great stuff right after this. I know for a fact some of you want to be smarter with your money in 2026. That's one of the things that you thought about for New Year's resolutions or whatever. That's where Monarch comes in. This new year, achieve your financial goals for good. Monarch is the all-in-one tool that makes proactive money management simple all year long. Use code EVEN at monarch.com for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with code EVEN. It's different. Unlike other personal finance apps, Monarch is built to help you be proactive, not just reactive. That's the key. They got the AI insights, AI weekly recap, AI assistant, AI everything. Monarch.com, code EVEN. All right, so what are your New Year's resolutions? I bet one of them is to eat healthier or exercise more or take care of some of the things around the house you just have been letting go. That's where my friends from West Shore Home come in. They're all over it. Let them take care of it. They handle everything. Tub to shower conversions, walk-in tubs, full bath remodels, windows, doors, full house flooring. I mean, there's a reason why I've had these guys to my house, I don't know, 6 times now. You think, I was going to say, you think my wife, you wouldn't know my wife, but if you think my wife would let people come in our house that she doesn't trust implicitly, you don't know Kara Tucker. Here's what you do know. westshorehome.com/Ross has incredible deals. Like if you buy a full bath remodel, get a shower and a second bathroom for free, but you also get the extra $500 off. westshorehome.com/Ross. All right, Steve, before we get into the playoffs, I do want you to tell the folks about how you did in the contests. Because what I like about the contest, kind of like how we're transparent on this show, and you can see all of the bets we make. You can actually go back and see all the bets we've made all year. Patreon.com/RTmedia. We think that transparency is super important, so go back and check us. Patreon.com/RTmedia. Most of the bets we make are -110. The teaser bets are -125, although I know for a fact a bunch of you can still get them at -120. We grade ourselves a little bit harder on that. The contest, though, Steve, that might be your best thing, actually. You always do well in these contests, it seems like.
You know, it's amazing because I've got haters out there, and there's one guy, he's a complete and utter dumbo, 0-time world champion, 0-time top 20 finisher in contests, and he says all these contests are complete luck, and he says, I don't care that Fezzik beat 3 people in his mother's attic in some contest 50 years ago, all right? And it does not matter what I do in contests. He'll always have that opinion. So back in 2 years ago, I had a really nice run in contests, and I cashed 400,000 plus. But this year was really rewarding. Like Charles Dickens, 'twas the best of times, 'twas the worst of times. Great expectations. In the Westgate Super Contest, Ross, at the end of the first half of the contest, I was 17-28. Dunzo. Second half, I went 34-10-1. in the contest. So I won the second half contest and paid $50,000. And in the Circa Millions, I was roundly being criticized because I was below 500, right around the halfway point of the year. Ross, I finished ninth out of 6,000 people, $70,000. So had a massive second half run, not just in the contest, but really good with my sports service as well.
So you made 120 grand from those two contests?
Yes.
Wow.
And those are it's not like I'm entering a zillion contests. Those are the only two contests in Vegas that I'm a part of, and I cashed in both.
Nice, Steve. I love it. 120 grand. That's good for the old bankroll. That's awesome. All right, let's get to these playoff games because there's a bunch of them and they're fun. I guess my first question, before we get to the Rams and the Panthers, in general, you're going to tell me that playoff lines are tighter and that we should be even more careful. Is that right?
Yes, because the beauty of this show is that we get to do a show early in the week with 16 games. So oftentimes, and we've been, we got some of the line moves wrong this past week, but we got some of them right also, like you being on the Rams. The problem with only 6 games is that the lines, and there'll be 4 games next week, they get tighter and tighter. Now, every now and then, if the public's all over a certain team, it could get over bet. But in general, it's very difficult to spot lines that are way off during the playoffs.
Makes sense. What are you thinking about the Rams? They're laying 10 on the road against Carolina, Steve, and the total is 46.5.
So my power ratings make the Rams a 9.5 point favorite. I think the spot is bad for the Rams. The fact they had that all-in game, they had to beat Arizona. They look sluggish, and now it's a short week, and they got to fly out to Carolina. The weather should be okay, so they caught a little bit of a break there. So I think the spot's actually good for Carolina. I got nothing on this game. I'm passing.
I think if it gets to 10.5 on Thursday's show, I think I'll put a unit on Carolina. 10.5's a lot. But right now I do not have anything, nor do I have a lean in this one. What about the Packers and the Bears? Now, did somebody tell me what the line initially, the Packers were favored, and now the Packers are getting 1.5 points? I thought I saw somewhere where the Packers were favored, and now the Packers are getting 1.5 points, totals 45.5.
And this is a Ross Tucker even money teaser special. Like, I make these two teams equal, all right? So the line should be an almost no home field for Chicago against Green Bay. Long history, Green Bay does great home and road against the Bears. Bears are fugazi. Look at all their ridiculous wins against Las Vegas and Cincinnati and the Giants and Washington. Terrible teams where they barely win. But my power ratings say there's no play. But you know what? The lines basically pick them, Ross. I'll take either one of these teams from +1.5 up to +7.5. Give me the Packers in a teaser leg, my first of my teaser legs. And there's only going to be one teaser this week. Love the Packers in the teaser.
Yep. I thought exactly the same right when I saw it. Packers up to 7.5. I would have taken the Bears up to 7.5. This is the beauty of the teaser. It's going to be a 2-unit one. There's going to be one other game that we get involved here. But I'm with you on that one, Steve. I've got Green Bay as a teaser leg up to 7.5 against the Bears. I haven't really checked. Is there weather Saturday night? Totals 45.5. That seems about right.
Weather is fine. When I checked all of the games, some small chance of precipitation in some places like Carolina, but no biggies.
All right, Bills and Jags. The Bills are laying 1.5 points on the road against the red-hot Jags. Totals 51.5.
So I have these teams equally rated in my power ratings, meaning Jacksonville should be a small favorite, but Buffalo, I think you got to give the nod with all the playoff experience, etc. However, I do think this is the one game that does have a weather impact. It is going to be warm in Jacksonville. It's going to be in the high 70s. It's the latest forecast. And this is a 1 p.m. start time after Buffalo having to live in the Northwest Territories, or the Northeast Territories, if you will, of the United States. This is a big advantage for Jacksonville. How many times did we used to see Tom Brady in New England go down to Miami in December and lay an egg? It's just really hard after spending a winter in Buffalo to not have the weather impact you when you go to Florida. So I like Jacksonville in this game. I'm going to tease Jacksonville. You know what? You're making it a 2-unit. I'm making it a 3-unit. It's my only teaser this week. Green Bay and Jacksonville, 3 units.
Wow. Okay. Steve's going 3 units on Green Bay and Jacksonville. I don't do 3-unit bets usually. That's a little bit too rich for my blood. It still is a best bet, though, for the reasons that you mentioned. I think the Jags are really good. In fact, I think the winner of that game is probably my favorite from the AFC to go to the Super Bowl, quite frankly.
Now, I would be remiss not to remind you, Mr. Tucker, that you've gone 10 units before on plays, because when you wheel all these different teasers and you're playing a team 5 times, if you put 2 units on that, that's a 10-unit bet. So a good reminder why next year we might want to scale it back to 1 units.
Oh, that's a good point. All right. I'm going 2 units on Jags plus 7.5 and the Packers up to 7.5. That's about as rich as I'll get for my blood and bankroll, but we're sharing a brain there. All right, what about the Niners? Niners are getting 4.5 in Philly to take on the Eagles. Total's 44.5, Steve.
So I'm going to give a shout out to my friend in Vegas, Teddy Covers, who does a great job with several things in the NFL. Start of the year, he does a great season win report. End of the year, he has his own strength of schedule. So you can look this up in Sagarin, but what he does is each and every week he looks at teams and how hard was their actual schedule. By example, like if you look at Washington, week 18, they had an easy game. They got to play the Eagles, good team, but without their starters. So he makes all those adjustments. And it turns out this wild card round is the round you want to bet on teams that played really tough schedules. And the Eagles had the hardest schedule of all of the playoff teams. And New England, by contrast, had the easiest. So if you believe in this trend, and the Niners played a cupcake schedule, you have to bet the Eagles. My power ratings don't support this, but I did want to give you that information that's been very profitable. Play the team with the battle-tested schedule against the team with the cupcake schedule. So I will lean Philadelphia.
Wow, that's so interesting, Steve. I would not have thought that. I'm actually going to put 1 unit on the Niners. The Eagles don't blow anybody out. You know what I mean? Like the Eagles' offense isn't good enough that they put people away. 1 unit on San Francisco, getting the 4.5. I think the Eagles probably win the game, but I think it's a close game because it seems like, like the Buffalo game. It feels like most of these Eagles games end up being pretty close. So I'll take San Francisco plus 4.5 for 1 unit. What about the Chargers and the Patriots? Sunday night, Chargers are getting 3.5. Total is 46.5.
Wowza. So another example where I've got conflicts. My power ratings say I should be betting New England. I make this game, my goodness, 6 for New England, but strength of schedule, New England, Cupcake City in terms of their schedule. So I am very reluctant to play on a team. And I don't ever like playing a favorite higher than -3 anyways. I'll lean New England. I'm not going against that trend.
Any concern, Steve, about the Chargers in the weather in New England? I mean, I'm sure it's going to be cold a Sunday night in January in New England.
I looked at it. It's going to be cold, but it's actually going to be higher temperatures than normal in Boston for January. So, and the late start time, although it's colder, benefits the Chargers because of the whole body rhythms. And historically, Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, the West Coast team, because of the late start time, has done very well in the night games.
All right, I'm going to take the Chargers in this one. You know I love getting 3.5. You know all the reasons I love getting 3.5. I think, the only concern is Herbert has not been great in the postseason. I'll just go 1 unit on the Chargers getting the 3.5 against the Patriots. Finally, we got Monday night. I'll be on the sideline for that one. Try to get as much TV time as I can. I'll be a sideline for radio. Texans are laying 3 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Totals 39.5, Steve.
So this is a game, maybe on Thursday I'll get involved because this line is 3.25. There's 3s and there's 3.5s. I far prefer the Steelers. I make the game like 2.75. You talk about weather. I got a team from Southern Texas going to Pittsburgh. They'll be playing Renegade. It'll be cold. And this is the Tomlin voodoo magic Jumanji crap that just keeps happening game after game after game where Pittsburgh as an underdog comes through. So maybe the Texans win by 2 or 3 points. I'm looking at Pittsburgh. Maybe I'll get 3.5 on Thursday. We wait for now.
If it goes down to 2.5, I'll probably tease the Steelers up to 8.5. If it goes up to 3.5, I'll probably just take the Pittsburgh Steelers for the reasons that you mentioned. It's kind of wild, isn't it? I think that the Texans are favored by 3. I wonder what the line would have been if they were playing the Ravens in Baltimore.
I can tell you. So I've got Baltimore's power ratings 2 points better than an average team, and I got Pittsburgh 0 points better. So I have a Baltimore 2 points better. So there'd be and you're moving through key numbers, but that's so I got and I've got Houston 1.5 better than Baltimore right now. So that line would have been, that line would have been like pick 'em.
I saw a look-ahead line. I thought the Ravens were favored by like 3, like at halftime or whatever of the Sunday night game. It's fascinating. Hey, we're going to get to some of your email questions next week, so hit us up, ross@rosstucker.com. There won't be as many games to recap or as many games to pick, so we'll get to some of your cool email questions. And as a reminder, you can always see all of these bets in black and white, the spreadsheet, patreon.com/RTmedia. Other than that, good luck, everybody. Hope you guys win some money.
Thanks for tuning in to Even Money. Make sure to also check out the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, Fantasy Feast, and College Draft, all on the DraftKings Network, YouTube, or subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform.